So DXY has started off pretty bearish. I said on my weekly analysis that I'm still pretty bearish on the dollar, despite the reaction we had at the end of last week. Of course, we formed support there and price respected it on a number of occasions. So it has been a pretty meaningful level, but as long as price stays below this swing high, I retain that bearish bias. I did say it would be nice to see if the dollar could pull back up, perhaps even come back and retest some structure to form another lower high and then perhaps work its way down from there. Of course, at the moment, it looks like price has respected some resistance to our left and is already looking pretty bearish this morning. We might bounce again at support for a fourth time, which would be pretty impressive, to be honest, for that support to hold on a fourth occasion as well. But we are trading back to support, so I wouldn't be looking to short the dollar necessarily, unless you're kind of already in on the lower time frames. Maybe you got short from potentially Sunday evening there. But yeah, we are pushing pretty bearish. I do think eventually we'll see price push back to the low here at 98. And that's still very much my expectation for the dollar. I was hoping to see a bit more strength this week because that would give me an opportunity to get into some USD shorts. The pullback we had from last week with this bullish move isn't quite enough for me to be getting into shorts myself. Maybe again, lower time frame, you might find some opportunities there because the range is tradable there. But me kind of entering on the full hour, even on the hourly, doesn't really do wonders for the risk to reward. So I was hoping for a bigger pullback. We may still get that. Like I said, if we do bounce for a fourth time, that is still very much a possibility. It has held very well as support so far. We'll see if it does again. But if it doesn't and price does break through, there's always the break and retest opportunity below the level, which we were hinting at last week, which I think would be a nice opportunity again, probably something a bit more intraday. And I would expect to push into that swing low at 98. But essentially, all I'm looking for the dollar to do is just continue this bearish trend. And yes, we're looking a little bit slow, a little bit corrective, but I do think we do get there and probably see some new lows. And then maybe after we might see a bigger pullback, because I think we're still due one for the USD. We're still due a deeper pullback at some point, but the bears are still very much in control. So I do expect to see more downside this week. For Euro, pretty much the exact opposite. Again, I hinted at the corrective structure. Can't see it there. The corrective structure we've been seeing for Euro, which doesn't really show that the buyers are well in full control. Yes, we're pushing up, creating higher highs and higher lows, which of course does mean the market is bullish, but it doesn't mean strongly bullish. It doesn't mean it's necessarily healthy. So I did anticipate a bit of a pullback this week, especially after the rejection we got last week there on Thursday, Friday. Nice rejection there. Spoke about possibly a retest of this area because this is the higher low, which gave us the drive to the upside. So as long as price, again, stays above this low, I remain bullish. So again, I was hoping for price to kind of take out some of these weaker lows, push down, find support again, and possibly rally from there. And I think that could be a nice opportunity for a buy. And again, that is still an opportunity which could come around if price was to fail at the highs again. I wouldn't be surprised if we do turn around and see that bigger move. But again, for Euro, that's still the expectation. I might be looking for a down move, but it's very much just to take it back up again. And if we don't see this opportunity present, then you're probably looking at the breaking retest of this high here at 1.144. So waiting for structure to break, a retest, and then continuations back to the high. Basically the same thing as what we saw on the DXY, just flipped the other way around. So still very bullish for Euro. 1.156 is still expectations for Euro. And yeah, whether we have the break and retest or we pull back down a little bit deeper, that's going to be up to Euro to decide. But I remain bullish for now. Again, as long as we stay above that low, that's what I remain bullish. Pound USD, again, for this one, I was looking for a bit of a drop as well. So pretty much the same analysis for most of the USD pairs. Looking for a bit of a drop, some more USD strength, and then for price to buy back up again. I was looking to see if we can come back into this low. We did see price break out of this channel last week with some nice momentum. Wasn't crazily aggressive, but We did clear the low of the channel. Of course, we respected the high there as well. So I was looking for pound to drop a little bit lower, retest support, and from there, hopefully see a nice continuation. And of course, it does line up with major resistance. If I scoot to the daily chart, and if I drag this level across, you can see prior resistance once, twice. It could have been acting as support again. It did initially over there, but would have been nice to catch the double bottom. And then from there, perhaps we just continue the trend. So this is where I was looking to see if I can pick up some longs. Again, I'm not too worried about that because the trend is pretty strong with pound. So if you do see a strong break of the high, I think a retest actually could provide some nice opportunities as well. And again, there's no kind of inherent target I'm looking at for pound because we haven't been at these prices since 2021, 2022. So it's been a while. There is a major high over there at 1.37. I think we could probably be talking about that as a target, to be honest. But yeah, pound USD, very, very bullish as a whole. Was looking for a bit of a drop this week, which again still could happen. We haven't cleared resistance. We could still very much turn around, but the buyers are still very much in control. So I'd focus on the buying for now and see if we can take it from 1.3858 or 1.343. In terms of Aussie dollar, so again, looking for a bit of a drop for this one. I did say if we can rally back to highs, see what type of price action we can get here. There might be some short opportunities. Again, it is a bit counter trend, but the idea comes from how corrective we've been. Every time the market does stab higher, we do tend to push lower. So if we don't reject the high here, I think there's actually a good chance we do reject the high at the trend line, so the top of the channel. And from there, we could see price push down. But I'm looking for a bit of a drop there for Aussie dollar. But again, the bigger move I'm still very much bullish for as we do push to the low end of the channel. That's still a reasonable place to look for a buy. As you can see how consistent we've been with all of these higher lows. There's a good chance we do see another one because it's going to take some energy for us to break through. But in terms of what we're pushing into, I do like the shorts. So I actually keep an eye out myself for some shorting opportunities for Aussie dollar to see if I can take it back down into the lows. Of course, depends how price reacts at one of these two areas. And if of course, we do break to the upside through both of them, I'll leave Aussie dollar alone. Perhaps we're going to get the bigger breakout. But basically looking for us to remain in the channel until we don't. Respect the highs, come back down again, respect the lows, come back down again. Eventually, we're going to see a breakout, but it's been well over a month now. So we're just patiently waiting for Aussie to pick a direction. New Zealand dollar, looks like this is starting to pick up some momentum, but for the most part, it's still very corrective. So I'm not overly excited about the price action with NZD-USD. It does look like price is back above this level, but in fairness, it hasn't really been respected too well. It was acting as resistance very well on 3 separate occasions, 1, 2, and 3. So I said a clean break of this, a retest, I think will give us some nice long-in opportunities. Unfortunately, we've just been kind of dancing, zigzagging above the level and below the level. Break above, break below, break above, break below. So it hasn't really been effective as support as it was resistance. And of course, us kind of corrective moving this channel has kind of been the reason of that as well. So if we are going to really break through this, I still want to see some more momentum. I still think a break and retest opportunity is on the cards. I just want to see a little bit more clarity in the price action. So a bigger move to the upside for NZD-USD, and then a bigger pullback to retest the level as support. Maybe it does line up with the low of the channel. We have to wait and see. But there still could be some buys there for New Zealand dollar on the retest of that level. It's still a level I'm focusing on, still a level I'm going to pay attention to. But a very kind of impulsive move just to really confirm that this level is well and truly broken. Price is now bullish. Then I can look for some pullbacks. At the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if we were to push down and close back below the level again. Then we're back to square one. So need to see a bit more consistency from NZD-USD above this level. And then, yeah, some pullbacks, retest at 0.602. Could look very, very good. Over to gold. So gold, we had a bit of a drop. Friday, was it Friday? Yeah, Friday I had a bit of a drop. Again, with gold, I'm still for the most part quite bullish on gold. A lot of the metals have been pretty bullish. And I still think gold is bullish. We had a bit of a drop, but it has come back to the low or the upper end of the channel. And it looks like it's potentially retesting it. So I'm not going to drop my bullish bias until I see price kind of really make its way back within the channel. And then that really does tell me that, okay, gold potentially is bearish again, and this perhaps was just a big fake out. At the moment, I'm still looking for buys, but I won't be looking to try and take any buys until we do break above resistance here. And then hopefully can look for some opportunities on the retest of that. Because if this is a break of the channel, well, there's a pretty good chance that we do get back to the high. So if we're going to respect the channel, I do expect price to push up from here. I'm never really one to try and take a breaking retest of a channel. I always try and take a breaking retest of support or resistance. So that's why I'm waiting for price to clear the high and then perhaps show some momentum and then a retest. Because if we were to clear the highs from here, yeah, that's a very big statement for gold. Because despite the bearish momentum, we still pushed up and still broke the highs. That for me is a clear sign that our next move is probably going to push to the highs and probably create some new ones. So a retest after that, I think, would be a decent opportunity. But yeah, since we're still above the channel, I remain bullish. It's a bit awkward right now, so I wouldn't necessarily be jumping into buys. We've still got this range above us here, which of course price could retest and head lower, so definitely watch out for that. But in terms of some quality buy setups, above the resistance there, 33.88, I think makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, you got silver, which is just looking very straightforward, actually. This was the bonus pair on the weekly analysis. Very straightforward price action. We've cleared this range out the way. I'm simply looking for the retest of that for more upside. We've broken, more importantly, through major resistance on the daily chart, or weekly chart even, which is the high here just below 35. We've cleared that noise. And now as long as we can stay above this, and this doesn't turn into be a big fake out, so as long as price doesn't come crashing back down and close below the level, then I remain very bullish. I've talked about the next big psychological level, which would be 40, which is up there. There we go, roughly. Which I do think is probably the next big target for silver. Again, considering that we do stay above this high. And then we can work our way towards that area. But for now, solid break, a lot of momentum. Now looking for us to retrace. We are looking a little bit tired, to be fair. That looks like the market is starting to ascend and starting to become a bit more corrective. So hopefully the pullback is on the cards this week. Retest around 34.8, 35. And hopefully from there, take it back to highs and just trail stops, really. I don't want to be trying to take profit with this one. I want the market to take me out because who knows, maybe you catch a wild break to the upside. Silver has sometimes those tendencies in these big bull runs. So, yeah, would want to make sure I can take advantage of that.